Okay, here we go. So thank you for joining today for our goal setting webinar, whether you're watching this live or the recording, either way is okay. Like I said, there are some fun gifts for those who join today live. But today is all about setting intentions for 2023. So I'm going to go over just a few things of what to expect today, what to do, how to make sure you're prepared. There's no wrong way to do this. It's just the act of doing it that really is going to get you hyped up and excited for 2023. And this is such a fun time of year because we get to think about what we want our lives to look like far out. We're going to go far out, about 5 years. And then we're going to figure out what those road markers are to get us there in 5 years. Goal setting is all fun and games, right? We talk all about, okay, I'm going to dream big and do this and do this. But we're also going to add a step today that I think is missed very often. And that step is how to actually implement it. Because we can all say we want to make X amount next year, or buy this car, or buy this property, or go on this vacation. But if we don't do the stuff that's maybe not so fun, or not the things that get celebrated as often by our normal society, then we're not going to get there. So we're going to talk about habits. We're going to talk about consistency, and we're going to talk about mindset, because this is where it all begins, right here. And if we don't take care of this, we're not going to be able to buy that car or make this amount of money or do that thing. So what have we got to expect today? So a little bit about us at Abundance, just so you know who's doing your webinar that you're watching here. So Abundance Real Estate is a female-founded firm. We are education-based, and we love talking about how to build wealth through real estate, because real estate is such an amazing tool, and there are so many resources out there. And what we really try to do is weed through those resources and help you know, kind of give you a roadmap to success. And that looks different for everyone, which is why I think there is so much information out there. We want you to be successful because of who you are and what your natural God-given gifts are. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about your mind, because those are the ways that you get to where you want to go. And my partner is actually on the call as well. She leads an awesome training on Mondays. I think the next one is actually coming up this coming Monday, Abundance Unlocked. And that is all about taking care of this, your mindset. So those things that we're all excited to do next year, doing something like that regularly as well, keeps you in that mindset to keep going. Because let's face it, we all wake up every now and again are like, and just can't imagine how we're going to get through the day. That's normal. So she's going to teach you how to give yourself grace and how to set goals and how to accomplish those goals and keep your mind healthy, because it's all about this, like we talked about. So what are we covering today? So it's going to be an interactive class. So make sure you have your pen and paper or your computer ready, however you want that to look. I'm going to ask that everyone stay muted, because if you want to play music for yourself while you're doing these activities, we're going to do some thinking today. So it's going to be interactive in that you're going to be doing things, but no one else is going to be talking except me. Sorry, guys. But that's just because I want you guys to have complete silence and a moment to be able to think about these things, because we're going to do some thinking today. I've taught this before where I more teach you what to do, but I have found the most successful way to do this is to do this together right here, right now, because it is really hard to force ourselves to do things that we may not want to do. So in a perfect world, I would trap you all in a room and we would do this together. If you're on my team, I'm probably going to do that or have done that, or if you're at our firm. But for those in the webinar, lock yourself in a room, put some headphones on, really until 11 o'clock, you are here, you are with us, and you're not going anywhere. And I promise you, you're going to come out on the other end with an action plan for next year. So we're going to talk about the why. Why do we even have goals? It's such a big word. It's one of those like keywords that like sounds really big, kind of like lead generation. So why do we even have them? We're going to talk about mindset, right? Taking care of your brain. We're going to go through your 5-year vision and kind of work backwards from there and make really a blueprint, right? An architect cannot build a building without a blueprint. If they don't know where the walls are going to go, or where the electrical outlets are going to go, or where the toilets are going to go, there is no building, right? So we're going to actually build your blueprint for 2023. How cool is that? That's so exciting. We're going to talk about the unpopular road markers. So if you're going to California, there are some exits and some road markers along the way that you need to make sure you hit. Otherwise, you're going to end up in the wrong place, right? Kind of like on Dumb and Dumber. I thought the Rockies would be a little rockier. If you follow the wrong road markers, you're going to go to the wrong place, okay? So we're going to talk about what those are. And that, number 4 here, I think is where the magic happens. Because those small things that you do every day, those are the things that get you to your big goals. And no one's going to celebrate them. No one's going to care about them. No one's going to tell you, great job for saving $5. But those are road markers to get you to the big goal so you can celebrate them. And you will now, because you're going to have them written down and time blocked in your calendar, which we're going to talk about. And that's number 5. We're going to make the action plan. I'm going to show you how to turn this into an action plan that you can actually follow. And number 6 is our little bonus at the end. So, like I said, it's going to be interactive. You're actually going to be doing something here. We're going to be exactly 1 hour, aka we're going to end at 11. I want to be really mindful of your time, and you may have scheduled an 11:15 meeting for all I know, because we told you it was going to be done at 11. So it's going to be done at 11, maybe even a little earlier, the gift of time. Your mind is going to be stretched. So you're going to have to think big, and I'm going to teach you how to do this in a second. And then I promise you, you're going to leave with an action plan and know exactly what to do now in order to make these into a reality, okay? So your focus determines your reality. So focus is a really big part of this. What you focus on expands. So if you focus on negativity or what could go wrong, you're probably gonna manifest that to happen. So something I actually just shared with our leadership team yesterday is that reticular activator thing, right? People always wonder why people are so lucky or certain things happen to them. It's not luck, right? It's what we're putting into the world. So if you buy, I don't know, a red Volkswagen Beetle, a very specific car, what are you going to start seeing on the road all the time? You're going to see a red Volkswagen Beetle everywhere, right? That's your reticular activator. That is your selected focus. You are now focusing on that thing. Same thing goes for life. If you're looking for $1 million, you're probably going to find a way to find it, right? Because what you focus on is where your mind is going. So if you continue to fill your mind with good thoughts and revisit these goals often and check in with them, you are putting that out into the world and you will find it. You will. So why are we even doing this? Because we get to dream. First of all, it's really fun to think about what our life is going to look like in 5 years. It's your life too, nobody else's. So in a perfect world, I know sometimes I just want somebody to tell me what to do. I'll just sometimes say, like, I don't know how to get where I'm going. I don't know what to do. I wish someone would just tell me, great, here's a list, go do these things and you'll be successful. Great. But we can't do that because every single one of us was uniquely made with a very specific, perfect purpose and set of skills. Right? Like on Taken, I have a very unique set of skills, but each of you do have a unique set of skills and nobody else has it except you. So I can't tell you what to do or what your goals should be because it's not me. And that's actually can be one of the hardest parts about it is when we look around at other people and we see what they're accomplishing, we only see a little bit of the story. So when you're setting your goals and setting your dreams, don't be afraid to make them look exactly like you because they should. And it's okay if they don't align with other people's goals or other people's ideas of what your goals should be. You only get one life on this earth. Why spend it doing anything except things that you're really good at and things that you love? Life is too short. So it's important to be very, very specific about this and connected to these goals as well, because people are going to try and take you away from your goals all the time. And what I mean by that is we're going to talk about time blocking and we're going to put things in our calendar today, right after this training, right? That's what you're going to do afterwards. Some point today is all the things that we're writing down today are going into your 2023 calendar. Well, what's going to happen when you have Tuesdays from 3:30 to 4:15 blocked off every week so you can, let's say, revisit your goals and work on your budget or whatever that may be, whatever the thing is. Do you know how many people are going to try to book over your 3:15 meeting with yourself? Everyone's going to. So unless you are so specifically connected to these goals, you're not going to keep them. So you need to make a promise to yourself that the things that you put in your calendar, you are going to stick with. Now, of course, things happen. We're in real estate, right? So things really happen. Showings come up, listing appointments come up. But what would it look like if you said, I can't meet at 3:15, I have a meeting, but I can meet at 4:30 or 2 o'clock, right? It's okay to protect your time, because if you don't work on those things, you're not going to get to where you want to go, and you're going to feel pulled in every direction by everybody else except you. So these promises that you're going to make to yourself today, keep them. Because every time you move something or break a promise to yourself, it sends a message to yourself that your promises are not worth keeping. So the things that you are doing today are really important to get you where you want to go. Hold firm to those things. Again, nothing is perfect. I move things every now and again too. We just have to sometimes. Things come up, meetings come up, and it might be the exact meeting you've been waiting for, or this thing that you're doing, whatever it may be. But work hard to keep promises to yourself and to others. Also keep in mind that with your goals, it's important to know why you have them. You're either moving towards pleasure or you're moving away from pain. And as a human being, I think it's important to know which one you are. Are you moving towards a positive goal, or are you setting your goals because you're trying to avoid pain? Are you pain avoidant or focused on pleasure? So it's hard to know which one you are, but just think about like what gets you more excited with your goals, getting to a specific place or avoiding a specific bad place that you maybe remember being, whether it be in debt or in a bad relationship or not in a great situation at work, like being miserable at your job. Are you avoiding that pain, or are you moving towards something positive? And what I will say is there's no right or wrong. It's okay if you're pain avoidant. It doesn't mean that you're focusing on the negative. It means you want to make $100,000 this year to avoid what happened to you 3 years ago. Okay, so just something to think about as you're sitting and working on your goals like we're going to do today. Are you trying to avoid pain, or are you trying to go towards pleasure? I will say I am pain avoidant. I have a lot of horrible memories of things that I've gone through, and a lot of my goals are to avoid ever getting there again. They're just as successful. They're just as specific. They're just as great. But sometimes I work harder to avoid getting to pain than to getting to a vacation or this or that, right? So just know that about yourself and try to think about, am I setting this goal because I'm avoiding pain or going towards something positive? Again, no right or wrong with that at all. Some of the most successful people are some of each. I want to talk about a few helpful tools to understand some of your strengths and why you do what you do as well. So you can add these to your to-do list time block. I have a time block on my Asana, which is a tool that I'm going to talk about later, to read 15 minutes every single day. And there's a really helpful tool that I use. It was actually a gift from McKenna. I use this almost every day. It is so helpful. It's a little cube block. I don't know where she got it. If you want to know, just ask me and I'll find out from her where she got it. This is so helpful because it helps me with my 15 minutes of reading every day. So all you do is you turn it on, makes a little beep, set it down on the time that you want. I set my phone down, I walk away, sit on my couch in my office with nothing next to me, especially my phone, because that is like the worst. That takes immediately someone's going to call you or text you or something. And I read, and then the alarm goes off and I'm done. And what this has really taught me more than anything is sometimes I only get through 2 pages. And sometimes I get through no pages because my phone rings. Or sometimes I realize I literally only have the 15 minutes and I want to keep reading, but my alarm goes off and I'm done. And what that does is it's more than anything, a promise to myself that I keep. And every day gives me a little more progress, because we as humans really only need one thing to feel good every day, and that's progress. Progress getting you one tiny step closer to where you want to go. So maybe it takes me 4 months to read one book because I'm only doing 15 minutes, but I'm reading a book. And if I hadn't done that 15 minutes, I'd read 0 books. And 1 book in 4 months is better than 0 books. So my point in that is do what you can in the season that you're in. If you're in a season where you can do something for an hour a day, great. But if you have goals to do a certain thing, it's okay if it's only 15 minutes a day. You will be so surprised at how good you feel when you keep that promise to yourself. I'm not kidding you. It might be sound super silly, but just try it. If you want to crochet for 15 minutes a day, or if you're trying to do something specific that takes a specific amount of time each day, do it. 15 minutes, try it out. Maybe it's meditation. Maybe that's something you want to do for 15 minutes every single day. Just set the time, set the intention, use your timer. I promise you, it is a huge help. But these two books are two books that are really helpful in figuring out why you do what you do, what you're good at. And it's really helpful too if you're on a team of any sort. It's good to do together with whoever you share your life with. The first one is Strengths Finders. It gives you a specific test and tells you your top 5 strengths. And then if you're on a team, it's really helpful for your whole team to know, because then everybody can take on the thing that they love and they're really, really good at, versus you trying to stretch and do something you're not so good at. The Road Back to You is an Enneagram book that talks about the numbers 1 through 9 and where you fall. So the Enneagram is not what you do, it's why you do it. So it gives you kind of an example, like everybody, let's say in this room, there's 9 people, every single person wants to be the CEO of this company, but every single person has a different reason for why they want to do it. If you're a number 8, let's say, you just want to do it because you just want to see if you can do it and you want to shove some people around. If you're a number 3, you want to do it because you are an insane achiever and that's what you think is ultimate success. If you're a number 2, you want to do it because you feel like there's so many people around you could help in that role. So it just depends like what that looks like for you, but it's a really interesting perspective. And what I like about this book is it does not talk about your strengths. It talks about your weaknesses. And understanding your weaknesses and your areas that you really are not so ugly and are kind of like we shove aside, they're kind of, we don't like them. Knowing those and understanding those is one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself, right? We don't want to avoid it. We're just avoiding the inevitable. But if we know what truly we need to work on, that's powerful stuff. And the way that they say to read the book, there's a lot of tests you can take and everything too, but the way they say to read this particular book is read every single chapter, 1 through 9. Every chapter is one of the numbers. And the one that makes you sick to your stomach is probably your number. It's fascinating, super fun. All right. I also want to quick talk about focus before we get started. Focus, I just want to give you an example of this. When we talk about protecting your time, I know I'm spending a lot of time on this because this is the meat and potatoes of everything. We're going to set intentions and we're going to set goals today. And if we don't have focus and a commitment to ourselves, you're not going to do them. Why do we not do our goals? Well, we skip one day, we skip another day, whatever. But let's think about continuing education. If you're a real estate agent, you somehow, maybe not yet, the 14th is next week, so you got a little bit of time, but you somehow either have or will get your continuing education done. You might have to beg, borrow, and steal time. You might have to strap yourself to your computer. You might have to get in a room with a bunch of people and lock the door and say, we're doing this. What if you treated everything in your life like continuing education? Just think about that. You're going to get it done. There's no way you won't. You can't practice without it. You also can't practice without money or closings or lead generation or clients, right? So what if you treated all of the promises you're going to make yourself today like continuing education with a deadline? You got it done, right? So that proves right there, if you need to do something, you're going to do it. So anytime you're like, oh, I don't have time for this, you made time for 18 hours of listening to the most boring people on the planet. You can do it. All right, get ready. We're going into it. All right. We are going to start. I'm going to put a timer on for just about 10 minutes. I might do 8 to keep ourselves for the sake of time. Okay. We are going to work on a gratitude assessment. This is going to put you in the right mindset to set your goals. So I'm going to set the timer. Oh, good. I have one right here. 10 minutes. I'm going to mute myself. Okay. And you are going to take your gratitude assessment that you were sent out earlier. Here it is. Get as far as you can, but this is going to put you in the right mindset. It is physically impossible to be upset when you're grateful for the things that you have. If you want more of something, you need to be grateful for what you have right now. Okay. So think about the things you're grateful for, work through this list. It's going to get you in a really good spot. And I will see you in about 8 minutes. Okay, how we doing? We are going to get back into it. So I'm hope just finish up here. And of course, you can go back to these things as well. So don't worry about that. Now we are in a good place. We are grateful. We are happy about what we have. We are grateful for the things in our lives. So, little quote here, if you want to find happiness, find gratitude. That is kind of the secret sauce that a lot of people don't talk about. There is no secret, there's no magical thing. It's gratitude. You need to be grateful for where you are and what you have, and you will get more of that. So, nice job with that. Let's talk about our 5-year vision. We're going to think big now, okay? So people typically underestimate what they can do in 5 years. So in order for us to make our action plan for next year, we need to know where we're going, right? Because just like a plane, right? If a plane is on its way to a specific state, if it goes off even by a degree, it will literally end up in a different state than it was supposed to go to. So what direction are you heading? You can't set your goals for next year unless you know where those goals are taking you. That's why we have to start with our 5-year vision. People completely underestimate what they can do in 5 years. And they overestimate what they can do in, that says 10, it's supposed to say 1 year. Okay, so we're not going to go too big with our 1-year goals, but we're going to set road markers for next year to get us to these big goals. So just to put it into perspective, what were you doing 5 years ago from today? Okay, so we're in 2022. So what were you doing this time in 2017 at that exact moment? So just think about that. Where were you? What were you doing? And how would you have felt if someone had told you at that moment that you'd be right where you are right now 5 years ago? So just think about that a little bit. You can really go further than you realize in 5 years. Okay, so think big. And what's super fun is 5 years from now, you're going to get to read this and hopefully think, whoa, I did not think big enough. I got way further than I was going to. Okay, so we're going to really, you need to think big. When I did this recently with my CPA, because it's a part of some of what they do, she took what I wrote, gave it back to me and said, you need to try again. So I'm not going to be able to see your stuff right now, but I am more than happy. I actually have some agents this year who've sent me their 5-year goals, and I keep them in a folder and I reach out to them every now and again and just make sure they're being held accountable. So with that, you are more than welcome to send your 5-year goals to me, and I'm happy to check in with you and make sure you're on track. So think big, or I'm going to hand it back to you and say, try again. So 15 minutes, we're going to get started right now. Rewrite your 5-year vision. Where do you want to be in 5 years? And we're not just talking how much money do you have in 5 years, because that has nothing to do with anything. It's a tool, right? It's a tool to get you where you want to go. Money just makes you more of who you already are. So if you want to do certain things or give back more or be involved more, money just will allow you to do that more, but it won't fix your life or change your life. It might make your life easier in certain ways. So that's why money is only one of the 7 things that we're looking at together here. We're looking at your work life. What does your work life look like day to day? What time do you get to the office? Do you go to an office? Do you wear pajamas all day? Do you work all over the world in different Airbnbs? Like, what does your work life look like? What are you doing day to day? Are you having meetings nonstop all day? Are you sitting behind a computer all day looking at a spreadsheet because you love that? What does your life look like? It's your life. And you get to pick it out and you get to decide what you're doing, nobody else, because my version of work-life excitement may have nothing to do with what you want to do every day. And that's okay. That's actually the way it should look. We all should be working specifically on things that we're good at, because that's what makes the world go round. Money. How much money do you have? What is your net worth? Net worth is your assets minus liabilities. So we're going to talk a little bit about that at the end as our bonus. What do you have saved up? How much do you put into a retirement account every month? How much do you put into stocks? What does your money situation look like? Love life. What does that look like? Maybe you don't have one because you hate people. That's cool too. Maybe you're married. Maybe you're engaged. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're breaking up with who you want to break up with. What does that look like in your life? Family. Do you hang out with your family? Do you have a family? Maybe your family are your neighbors because you hang out with them all the time. Do you visit them once a year, once a month, once a day? I don't know. It's totally up to you. Spirituality. Do you meditate? Do you go to church? Do you read certain books? Like, what does that look like for you? What time are you spending with your higher power? Friends. Do you hang out with your friends? Do you have friends? Do you like people? Do you not? I don't know. Whatever you want that to look like. How often do you hang out with your friends? Maybe you do a weekly pizza night or a game night. Maybe you know, whatever. Totally up to you. And then self. What are you doing for yourself? Do you go to yoga on Tuesday mornings? Do you go running every day? Do you read a book? Do you sit and watch your favorite show? Like, what is the thing that you do for yourself to put things back into your cup, right? Because if you don't have a full cup, you can't give back to anybody else. So you have to do something for yourself. What does that look like? Do you get up every morning and drink coffee totally in silence and sit and enjoy the silence? Or do you listen to a podcast over your coffee every morning? Do you not drink coffee because you hate coffee and you sit and drink tea? Like, whatever. What is that thing you're doing for yourself to be totally alone and give back to yourself? Write that down. I am aware that this document might not be big enough. So what I do is I just make a Word document and type more of like a story. Here's what my life looks like. I get up every day. I do all these things. And I just make sure I hit on key points of each of these things. So it doesn't need to look perfect. You don't need to write in the boxes. In fact, I prefer to type it out in Word. You might want to take a notebook and physically write it down with a pen and paper. Whatever works for you. You got 15 minutes. Go. For the sake of time, I'm actually giving you 10. Okay, I'm gonna have everyone slow down here. Now, here's the good news. This is gonna be recorded. So because it's gonna be recorded, you can always, when you watch it, pause it for a longer amount of time and work harder. So I know you might not get totally done with it, but that's okay. We're gonna move into the next part. So now that we have our 5-year vision, big goals, where we want to go, we have an idea of what direction we are heading, okay? So now that we know what that looks like, what are the not so sexy road markers to get us where we need to go? Now, these are those things that no one might be celebrating for you or going, oh my gosh, yay, how exciting. But you need to accomplish them if you want to get where you're going. If you want to save $100,000, you need to save $5,000 first. If you want a $10 million real estate portfolio in 5 years, but you don't own any real estate, do not make your goal next year to get a $10 million real estate portfolio. That might not be so realistic, right? I'm all about shooting for the stars, of course, but you need to buy your first property if you're going to get to a $10 million portfolio. And that first property might not seem super, super exciting, but none of us got to our big goals without hitting small road markers first. And that is where the magic happens. So if you're, again, we're just using the $10 million portfolio example. If your goal is to get there, we need to make your 2023 goal buying 1 income property, right? Maybe 2. What things do you need to do to get there? And that's what we're working on, okay? This is where the magic happens. This is the secret sauce. This is the stuff that helps you get where you need to go. So now that you know where you're going in 5 years, okay, what do you need to do next year? What are those road markers, right? Mile 1, mile 2, mile 3 to get to mile 50. Think about those things. Now, the document you have has 3 goals on it. You can have more, 4 or 5, but don't put 15, okay? If you have too many, you're not going to do anything. So it's a lot more beneficial to make smaller goals that you can accomplish versus giving yourself a to-do list that you're just not going to do. Okay. So again, I have 3 on here. Maybe you want to do 5. That's cool too. Then what are the small steps that you need to do to get to those things? And those are the things that we're going to put on our calendar for next year. So let's say, this is just an example here. Let's say your goal is to buy your first income property, right? We're going to stay real estate related because a lot of us are real estate agents, but you don't need to be in order for this to be helpful to you. Okay, let's say that's what you want to do. You want to buy your first one. Well, maybe you need to take the City of Milwaukee landlord class. You don't need to do that, by the way, but there are certain loan programs or grants that make you do that. So maybe you want to do it just to learn a little bit about real estate. It's actually a really good class to take. And when I took it, I don't know, 10 years ago, it was free. I don't know if it's still free, but they give you all the documents and state laws and forms that you need. It's really helpful. Maybe you want to read Tax-Free Wealth. Awesome real estate investing tax tool. Super beneficial. We do a class at Abundance just on this stuff. So we talk a lot about it because it is so beneficial. And then maybe it's put away $2,000 every month for your down payment, whatever that is. Now it's your turn. So take your document, or you can just use your own Word doc and figure out what your big goals are next year. And then 5 things for each one that you need to do in order to accomplish them. I'm going to give you not a whole lot of time here, but again, if you're watching the recording later, you can pause it and take as much time as you need. Normally 15 to 20 minutes is good here, but I'm going to give you like 5, honestly, because I want to be mindful of your time today. So I'm going to pause it, okay, for about 5 minutes, work on this, and then we're going to go through some of our bonus items very quickly. Again, I want to be respectful of your time. So here we go. All right, now that you've done your not so sexy road markers, again, take some time after. Like I said, we are recording. You can watch this after and work deeper on them, okay? So we're gonna keep on going here. So some of your bonus items that you guys are gonna get. So if you're here today, we're gonna email these out to you afterwards. So they're tools, again, to help get you where you want to go. We're gonna send you our GCI goal breakdown. One of your goals probably aligns around how much you want to make next year. Maybe, maybe not. No worries if not. This document helps you break down how many appointments you need to go on every single week in order to hit your goal. We can all say we want to make $250,000, $1 million, $5 million, whatever dollars next year by selling real estate. But unless we know how many appointments we need to go on, how many conversations we need to have, it means nothing. So this document helps you really break that down. And again, helps you then take those items and put them in your calendar. The below item is an income statement breakdown. So if you have a team, this is really helpful to figure out how many transactions each of your team members need to do next year in order to hit your goals. So you start here, then we're actually going to break that down and help you with a document called a budget. And I'm going to quick go to it here so you can see it. This budget is something we're also going to send you, which has suggested percentages of your income goal. So if you notice that number, code 302 income, that's actually the same number that we saw over on the last slide. This shows you how much to invest in every single item in order to hit your goals. Now, it also includes a salary for yourself, because as we know, if we end up making this amount, the $471,600 next year in real estate, because we have a team and we're getting income from that, not all of that is your salary. So we have an entire class on how to take your commission and break it out in order to run a successful real estate business. Normally, we only supply that class to those who are actually in our kickoff coaching program at Abundance, but we're going to send it to everyone who's here today. And you can watch it. And again, it's kind of activity-based like this, and you're going to make your own budget for real estate next year. 2 books I highly recommend. The Compound Effect helps you really take into consideration small things that we do each day and what they can truly end up being. Atomic Habits is a really similar book that teaches you about habits and the psychology and the science behind habits. So now you have 4 books for your goals next year to read, or maybe you want to read them by the end of the year. Time blocking. Let's talk a little bit about that. This is an overused, hot topic word. We all know what it is, blah, blah, blah. We can call it whatever we want, but it truly is one of the key things that's going to help you be successful. So like we talked about earlier, you need to get these items that will get you to your goals. Let's say it's working out 5 times a week or 3 times a week, whatever they are. Put them in your calendar. Assign yourself, make it a schedule item, especially if you have like a Calendly or some sort of scheduling software. Nobody can book over your set times in your calendar if your calendar is linked to that. It helps you protect your time. If I know that I need to work on a 3-hour presentation, making this presentation, for example, this was on my calendar. And of course, people tried to schedule over it. But if you protect your time, you will get those things done. It's actually shocking how much you can get done in a 3-hour span of dedicated work. If you are bogged down by emails and you don't know how you're going to get out of it, schedule yourself 3 hours of uninterrupted time. I like to put a little Mozart in my AirPods and just go to town on emails, and you would be shocked what you can accomplish. So what you need to do by the end of the year, you need to finalize your 5-year vision, your 1-year goals that we just did here. You're going to put each of those tasks and things that you now need to do. You've got a big list. You've got a huge list now, probably, of items that you need to do next year. Get them in your calendar now. We just did this at our firm too. All of the events we know that we want to attend next year or things we want to do next year, they're in the calendar now. Because now, as you plan vacations or meetings or things throughout the year, you've got things that are already in there. Your haircuts should be in your calendar for next year. You should already know what your schedule is pretty much going to look like in 2023, because if you set it up now, you have something to keep you on track every day. It's so helpful. And some people might find it to be kind of restrictive, I find it so freeing, because if I want to go on a 2-hour lunch next Tuesday, I can look at my calendar and go, yeah, I can totally do that, versus I'm not sure. So it gives you the power to say yes to things that you want to do. That's what it really does more than anything. Get an awesome tool like Asana. Asana is the tool that I use. I love it. It's free. You can get the paid version. You can get the paid version of anything, of course, but I always like the free version of things. The Asana platform helps you create a to-do list each day, and you can make those items recurring. It is so helpful, even for small things like, what day is your credit card payment due? When do you make sure that you've collected this certain thing? I have properties and some of my tenants like to pay rent manually, which drives me nuts, but it is what it is. I have something on my calendar every 4th of the month that just says, have you gotten all your rent? And then I have a list of the properties of which ones I need to make sure that I got manual rent from. So anything that you can get out of your brain and onto a to-do list, that's also so freeing, because then you don't lay up at night and go, oh my gosh, I can't forget about this. I have to think about this. I have to think about this. If it's all in Asana or in some sort of platform, you don't need to think about it. You just need to look at your computer every day and say, oh, okay, what's on my to-do list? Great, I'm going to do those things. It's awesome. You're going to work on your 2023 income projection. Again, we're going to send you that spreadsheet. You're also going to do your 2023 budget. This is just an image of Asana, just an example of recurring things that always show up on my calendar. This is literally a screenshot of my Asana. So you can see I have read 15 minutes as a recurring every day. And every time I check complete, it goes to the next day. Super awesome. Use your tools. Bonus items. Like I said, I'm going to send you the budget template. We're going to send you the P&L template. We're going to send you a net worth tracker, which helps you every single month set up your net worth and track what you have. Again, if you have a net worth goal, it helps you check in with that every single month. These tools are tools that you are going to use for years. It will help keep you on track with your business. It will help you make sure you always know where you're at. If you're the type of person who likes to avoid looking at this stuff and feels like it's going to go away, if you don't look at it, you're right, it is going to go away. Your money's going to go away if you don't protect it and make sure that you are aware of what's going in and out. Like I said, this is an example of the budget. This is an example of the P&L spreadsheet we're going to send you. It's a manual data dump spreadsheet. It is so helpful. The video we're also going to send you shows you how to use all of this stuff as your tools. You're going to set a monthly meeting with yourself for about 2 hours a month to check in with these items. For the first 5 years of my real estate business, I did not have QuickBooks or any sort of paid platform. So that's why we're going to send you these items, because it allows you to manage your business for free. You don't get to having a bookkeeper and QuickBooks and P&Ls and things like that done for you right away. And that is okay. Start here. QuickBooks used to intimidate me. That's why I didn't even invest in it until like year 8 in real estate, because it terrified me so much. This document, you literally data dump your expenses and your income, and it creates a P&L for you. It's my favorite document. I created it in Excel with the help of an Excel junkie, a good friend of mine. And we probably made this, I don't know, in 2014 or 15. I still use the same spreadsheet to this day. It is so freaking awesome. Revisit this all regularly, okay? So you're gonna put this monthly 2 hours or so reconciliation time in your calendar. Make it fun. You can call it, you know, counting my gold. That's actually what I call it. My husband always jokes, what are you doing, counting your gold? It just makes it fun. 4, the agenda. You're going to revisit your 2023 goals every single month during this time. You're going to review all your expenses and income for your prior month. Okay. So again, this all goes really deep diving into the expenses and such. This is more money based. The video we're going to send you is all about this stuff. So you can take a look at it, play with it, and enjoy that video. It's also about an hour and a half long, but it helps you learn about your finances and get in touch with where you are, what your goals are. Again, that's more money-based. It's a whole class. It's why I'm not diving deep into it today. If you have any questions on anything we went over today, okay, I know we move fast, but again, you're going to get the recording. Take the time to revisit these things, even right now, if you want to. We're going to send it out immediately after it downloads. Take the time, work on these sheets, make your plan, and then no joke, this is literally, I have a folder right here. Every time I have a monthly meeting, whether it be with myself or with my team, that budget that you're going to learn how to create, I bring it with me to every single meeting along with a list of my goals. That way, throughout the entire year, I know where we're going. It's all fun and games to set an intention and go, oh, we're going to do this year. But by January 15th, no one's talking about it anymore. This keeps you on track, and less is more. I can promise you that. The less materials you have to keep with you, the better. So make these promises to yourself. Thank yourself today for investing time into your business right now, because this is time that's really going to help you reach your goals. And like I said, they are your goals, nobody else's. It does not matter how they look. If you want to sell butterflies for a living, that's one of my favorite things that McKenna taught us. If you want to sell butterflies for a living, you go sell butterflies for a living. It is your life, your purpose, your skills, and your goals. Nobody else gets to tell you what they are. So again, this is my email. Happy to schedule something with you guys. I'm going to put a link to my calendar in the chat box so you have it. I'll throw it here right now. And again, go off, sell real estate, do your thing. We are so happy you are here with us today, and we'll see you soon.